The Magic Thief, Chapter 8. Back at Heartsease, Nevery changed me into a boy, and I told him what the Magisters had said. That they were worried about the ebbing magic crisis, that the wizard Petivox wanted the job of leading them, but that the Magisters knew Nevery was in Wilmette, that they wanted him to lead them instead. All you have to do is ask, I told him. I can draw my own conclusions, boy, Nevery said sharply. He got up from his chair and paced across the room, then back again. And they all agreed not to support Petivox? He asked. I nodded. Sandera said he was power-hungry. Petivox is a decent wizard, but he's a terrible leader. Things must be worse than I thought for them to offer it to me so readily. I wonder if I was too hasty, going to the Underlord. He put his hands behind his back and paced some more, muttering into his beard. Coming to a turn in his pacing, he noticed that I was still there. Well, go on out, boy, he gestured for me to leave the room. I took 2 steps toward the door, then stopped. Nevery, I asked. He paused in his pacing and scowled. What, boy? I was just wondering when I'm going to learn tricks like that. Tricks? What are you talking about? Well, Nevery, I am your apprentice. I am supposed to learn the Embarrow spell, right? I've got all of it except for the end, and I need the rest. Nevery shook his head and his scowl deepened. Don't be stupid, boy. You are not my apprentice. I took you on as a servant, nothing more. Not his apprentice? I stared at him. Something strange was happening to my stomach, like the bottom was falling out of it and a giant black pit opening up. Not his apprentice after all. His servant. I wasn't sure I could be a servant. Not even for Nevery. Without saying anything, Nevery got up and went to the table, fetched his grimoire, and sat down again. He opened the book and marked a spot on the open page. He cleared his throat. All right, boy, tell me the Embarrow spell. I swallowed down the lump in my throat. It goes, Tumbril, Tumbril, Ulartambre, Franjavinek, Putin, Frangelic, Evan, Frangelicar. I paused to take a deep breath. Frangella fragilum eolen dilar telcolil. Tark olil. Nevery corrected, looking up from the book. Right, Tark olil. I said, Lilo tarko lilo tarkinan. I stopped. That's all, then. Everything goes black. There was a long silence. Finally, Nevery nodded and closed the grimoire. The spell won't affect unless the magic is focused and released with a locus magicalicus, but that's all of it, boy. Oh, well, it didn't matter now. Might as well get it over with. I wouldn't be a very good servant, Nevery. So thanks for turning me into a cat and showing me Heartsease. I stared down at my feet so I wouldn't have to look at him. I turned to leave the study. Wait, Nevery said. I stopped with my back to him. You'd rather go back to thieving on the streets of the twilight than serve me? He sounded angry. I thought about it. I was a good thief and an even better lockpick. Most of the time I did all right. Most of the time I managed to avoid being noticed by the Underlord and his minions. But sometimes, no matter how hard I scrambled, things got bad. I'd go hungry for a few days, or the weather would get cold and I wouldn't have a copper lock for a corner in a crowded cellar to sleep in, or I'd have to fight off a stray misery eel, or somebody would steal my shoes. Working for Nevery would be easier. I wouldn't mind sweeping and polishing scrying globes and fetching water if I were his apprentice. But I couldn't do it as his servant, not even if it meant going back to the twilight. I shook my head and headed for the door. Wait, he said again. I stopped, but I still didn't turn around. All right, he sighed. Maybe I do need an apprentice. Suddenly, everything looked a lot brighter. I turned back to him. All well then, boy? Nevery asked. Outside at that moment, the sun came out and shone straight in the window, and a beam of light splashed me right in the face. I blinked, dazzled. The room was flooded with afternoon sunlight, thick as honey, but brighter, sweeter. Dust motes danced in the air like tiny stars. I realized that I was grinning. All right, Nevery, I answered. Yes, all right, boy, Nevery said gruffly. Go and get yourself some dinner. From Nevery's journal. Never had an apprentice. Never wanted one. Still don't want one. Not a good teacher, for one thing, and don't want apprentice underfoot. Boy very likely to be more trouble than he's worth. No locus magicalicus, serious problem. Habitual liar, thief, etc. Eats cupboards bare, aggravates Bennett. On the other hand, Boy's abilities of interest. Can't think of any wizard who could have repeated a twice heard spell as difficult as the Ambero, but Boy did it. Very surprised. Also odd that Boy has never been ill, despite living on streets as gutter boy. Possibly has some affinity with city's magic, though no precedent for such a thing. Note to self: send Bennett out for materials to build gauge for measuring ambient level of magic. Must determine whether, as has been claimed, the rate of magical decay is increasing. List for Bennett: copper wire, springs, optical lenses, panvex, pancave, slow silver, as much as he can get, verity crystal, dark one if possible, dock pendulums, 3, burnishing powder, parchlet, nuts, bolts, screws of various sizes, and more food. Boy eating pantry bare.